Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Sharon C. Jenkins, also known as the literary midwife. She helps people bet their books and rebuild their love lives. As the founder of 40 Plus and Flirty, she's on a mission to help individuals date boldly, love wisely, and live fully. If you've ever wondered whether it's too late to start over, this conversation will definitely shift your perspective. Sharon, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you here.
I love it. Thank you.
All right, so I'm actually excited for what we are going to be talking about today. And heads up, we are diving into your 20s.
I'm ready to go back. I'm ready to go back.
All right.
I'm bringing a lot of wisdom with me.
Oh, I'm so excited for that actually. So yeah, I want you to take us back to your 20s. What did love, relationship, and purpose look like for you at that stage?
Well, truthfully, I was on a quest, and
Hmm.
that quest was to find a man.
Hmm. Okay.
And I wanted to use my intellect
Hmm.
to attract a man, but also my beauty. So
Hmm.
you would never find me with rollers in my hair at the grocery store or, mismatching plaids and solids. I would do that. I would study cosmetic commercials and read magazines that had makeup tips, and I would study Essence magazine to find out what was the current state of dress, how I should
Hmm.
dress, and read Glamour magazine on how to catch a man. So that's what my 20s look like.
Wow. Okay, okay. So how did it go for you, right? How was your love life then? Did you find what you wanted and, stuff like that?
Well, I didn't find love. I found lust, Lust.
Oh.
I found that a lot. But
Hmm.
it that in itself made it difficult for me to identify love when it showed up because I got a little confused.
Hmm.
Because at that particular point in time in my life, I thought the two were one in the same.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought the two were one in the same. And as a result, it took me until I was in my 30s to recognize that love is not necessarily, lust is not necessarily an expression of love. Lust has its own category. You
Okay.
have some fun, it's a temporary fun, but
Hmm.
it may not lead to a long-term relationship. And I had that awakening in my 30s.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So I feel like what you just described about your 20s is most people reality now. A lot of people are looking for love, right? But they keep finding lost. And the funny thing is, I can't tell. Like people cannot tell the difference between love and lust. So can you tell us how can we, identify that okay, this isn't true love, this is lust, or this is obsession, or I don't know. How can we tell that a relationship is healthy if you found the right one? Can we tell?
Of course. Well, first, you have to identify what is it you really want out of a relationship. And the other thing is, you've got to ask yourself the question, are you really showing up? You, in capital letters, are you really showing up in your best? Okay. And the
Mm.
reason why I say that is when we're our authentic self and we show up, we attract our authentic mate, someone who complements us and complements our strengths, complements our weaknesses. But if we show up in pretense, then we might, attract any and everything. So knowing yourself, knowing what it is that you really want, and then deciding that you're willing to wait for it, to kiss maybe a frog or two, but be patient and really building a relationship. Now, if you just want lust, you can have it. It's
Mm.
available. We've already established that. But if you want a monogamous relationship with a person who complements your strengths and your weaknesses and brings value to your life, you have to become an observer. You have to know internally, what are my boundaries? What are the things that I'm really looking for? And, is it important enough for me to wait to see that person manifest in my life?
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much for that one. Actually, it had me thinking, like I had to think deeply what I really wanted. Okay, so yes, I want us to talk about, the early belief about love and life that you had. So what were some beliefs you had in your 20s about relationship or success that you later had to unlearn?
Well, I was raised up in the love generation.
Hmm.
The it's your thing, do what you want to do.
Wow. Okay.
And so, so 18, 19, 20, I didn't really know what I wanted to do because I hadn't really taken the time to think about me. And matter of fact, I really didn't understand what I was made up of or what I was made for. It wasn't until my 30s when I started taking personality tests that I began to understand how I was wired. Now, that answered a lot of questions about my tendencies,
Mm,
about why I like to be in control, why I felt that in a relationship, I deserve to have a certain level of commitment because I was willing to give that level of commitment. So I believed that I was the total package when I really didn't know who I truly was. Okay. So when I showed up, it's kind of like a half baked cake. Okay. When you put the
mm,
cake in the oven, midway, it really acquires a form. It becomes a symbol of what it's eventually going to become. So if I take the cake out of the oven midway, guess what happens? My cake isn't done on the inside.
mm,
But if I leave the cake in the oven for the duration, okay, when it comes out of the oven, it is what it is intended to be. Okay. So I believe that in my 20s and late teens, 20s, that I was all I was going to become. And
mm,
what you see is what you got, and what I wanted is what I had to have. But what I wanted was something like a kid goes into a candy store and you want a lollipop or you want a Snickers, or that's what you want. But what might be the better thing for you is a peppermint. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. So I had the misguided assumption that number one, I had to be molded in the image of the young people of my age. I had to look like them, dress like them, be like them, think like them. Okay. No wisdom, just I was an actor, I was a pretender. So the false assumption was I had reached my capacity and I had become who I was supposed to become, but I was half done because I had reached the maturity level that I needed to reach to pursue what I needed to pursue or to become completely what I needed to become. And that was because I could acquire things. Okay. And I was acknowledged. But when I took the makeup off and I took the stylish clothes off and I got rid of the handbags and all that wonderful kind of stuff, when it was just me, nothing but me looking in the mirror, I was totally undone.
Hmm.
And so believing that lie put me in a place where I was vulnerable and open for things that really didn't fit who I eventually was to become.
Wow. Hey. Wow. Thank you for, diving into your story. And I just really do appreciate that for, being able to share with us your 20s, right? So it just makes me think because I believe that life then is a bit different from how it is now. You said you were born in the era of love, right? This era is totally different. I mean, it's almost difficult to find true love. I don't know if I'm the one just assuming, but I feel that way because the high trust is no longer a high trust society. So I just wanted to ask, right? What do you think a young adult should be looking for in a partner if you want true love? I know you've said it already that you should first of all understand what you want in a man. But then, apart from what I want in a man, what should I look out for in a man that you think a man should possess to make the relationship work, right?
I believe a man should be intentional.
Hmm.
If you are in a relationship or you're beginning a relationship, you should be like minded in where you
Hmm.
eventually want this relationship to go. It's not, oh, he came into my life and so maybe he's the one. No, that's a wrong assumption. You should investigate,
Hmm.
you should examine, you should take the time to really get to know this person before you make an investment. And when I say that, I'm not just talking monetarily, I'm talking an investment of your time, an investment of your body, an investment of who you can be. Because a lot of women show up and they become wifey before they even get to know if this individual is a good fit for them. So
Hmm.
respect and honor who you are and don't sacrifice or don't minimize or marginalize who you are to fit somebody else's paradigm of what a relationship should be. Remember always that you are the prize. You are the gem. You are the result of a rib being taken out of a man. And you are the best part of who he is or who he can become. So, in essence, what you are looking for is the other thing that complements who you are, where you want to go, and what you want to build in life. And
Wow.
sometimes we're looking through the lens because we don't really see 100% of who we are or the capacity of who we can become. So when you're looking for someone to share your life with, experimentation early on in the relationship can cause you to end up with a deficit at the end of the relationship. If you
Mm,
invest 100% of yourself because you have a notion, an expectation, or a dream without investigating whether this person is worthy of that investment, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be spending yourself. And eventually, when you get to the right person, you may have 5% of what you really can offer to somebody left. That's why you have to consider yourself the prize.
mm. Wow. Consider yourself the prize. Exactly. Okay, okay. It's all about, self-worth and confidence and knowing what you want and then sticking to what you want. Because it's one thing to know what you want and another thing to be able to select it from men. Because most people know what they want, but they just tend to settle for less, right? Because they feel like what they want is too much to be seen in a man. So yeah, okay. Thank you for that one. And talking about reinvention and starting over, your work focuses on people starting again later in life. So what can someone in their 20s learn now to avoid feeling stuck later?
I think it all is based on self worth
Hmm.
and valuing who you are now. And if you're not in that place, maybe you made some decisions earlier in your life that brought about trauma, that brought about abandonment, brought about neglect, and unfortunately, that brought about abuse. I was married when I was 17 years old. That tells you something. And I was married to someone who really didn't want to be married to me.
Hmm.
But if I had waited until my 20s, if I had waited till later on in my life, I would have known more about myself and experience would have taught me more about men. And I would have been in a better position to make a better decision. Okay. So I would advise people in their 20s to have fun, but don't have fun to your detriment.
Hmm.
Explore, be an adventurer. But if your goal is to end up with someone for the rest of your life, to build a relationship on love, I mean true love, not lust, because we know you go on Tinder, you can find the lust that you want.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you sincerely want the love that you've seen escape other people, don't settle for less. Do
Hmm.
not settle for less because it's out there for you. I remember a time when a certain man came into my life, and it was so obvious that he was the match for me. But I was tied up in another relationship, And because
Hmm.
I have a huge sense of honor and integrity, I could not step away from something that was killing me,
Hmm.
killing my self esteem, killing my dreams. I could not step away from that because I was locked into that relationship because I'm an honorable woman and I have integrity and I wanted to stick it out. My chance for love escaped me for
Hmm.
that period of time in my life. So I had made a commitment too soon to someone who wasn't committed to me. And I would advise you, young people, I love you. That's why we're having this conversation
Yeah.
because I'm vested in you accomplishing what it is that you want to accomplish. A lot of women have what they need financially to be independent. They have the education, the career. They are six, seven figure earners in their businesses. But the one thing that escapes them is true love. Well, they're in a position where they can pursue it. And then, oh, this thing about, and some people may not agree with me, and I'm okay with that. Baby, look outside of what you know to find what you're looking for. Don't be stuck in a certain culture, a certain ethnic group. Look beyond your demographics to find what you're looking for. We live in a great big world, and there are tons of possibilities. Just because geographically you can't find what you're looking for in that particular zip code, baby, I encourage you, get on a plane, go somewhere else.
Yay. Okay. Hmm. Wow. Okay. Go somewhere else. All right. So,
That's right. Relocate.
hmm.
Relocate to find the love of your life.
Wow. Exactly. Oh, this feels so refreshing, honestly. It feels refreshing. Thank you so much. And yeah, wow, talking about, storytelling and identity, you help people birth their books, right? So how important is it for young people to start owning and shaping their own story early in life?
I think it's important because number one, it establishes a beginning point to start a legacy.
Mm,
I think that young people have stories, especially nowadays. Young people have stories that not only mold and shape their lives, but also influence their elders. You all are
mm,
having so many new experiences, different experiences that can enlighten and educate and empower people who are leaps and bounds older than you are. So, what you're experiencing brings value to the world that you live in. So, you should start chronicling it. As a young woman, I started writing poetry.
mm,
Actually, I was 8 years old when I started writing poetry. And I can go back to poems that I wrote in my 20s and see where where I was, and see the growth of who I have become as a result of being honest with myself and making valuable investments in who I was to become. But I wouldn't be able to measure my growth. And now, because I chronicle my own growth, I'm able to look back at my own notes. I don't have to rely on people to tell me where I've come from They can affirm and confirm it, but because I've chronicled my life, I have my own perspective and I can do an adequate assessment of
Mm.
who I am, where I've come from, and especially in establishing where I'm going.
Mm. Wow. So it's about, purpose and alignment, right? And creating your identity. So,
Yes,
exactly creating your identity. And wow, talking about purpose, right, and alignment, how do you think someone in their 20s begin aligning their life with purpose instead of just following whatever everyone else is doing?
I think it all goes back to identifying that you are a unique individual, that you have a specific specialization, a specific purpose in life, and embracing that. Being part of a crowd eliminates you. When you're part of a crowd, you erase the brilliance that you bring to life. Okay? It's okay to periodically be a part of a crowd. But when that crowd mentality dictates who you are, you become lost in who that overall crowd is. So realize the brilliance that you possess. The fact that you being an individual, a special individual made a certain way and designed for a certain purpose, when you recognize that, you can stand your own in your own shoes anywhere in a crowd, outside of a crowd, you know. So, the beauty of embracing purpose confirms the fact that you were designed to exist for such a
Mm.
time as this. When
Yeah.
you model or you follow the mold of somebody else, you're not going to fit 100% in that mold. And when you recognize your importance as an individual, nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, can come into your life and shake you and redefine you and make you in their image. You are enough just as you are.
You are enough just as you are. Wow, that's powerful. Right? It's really powerful. And, Sharon, I just want to thank you for such, meaningful conversation, especially for anyone who are trying to, navigate love, identity, and purpose. It takes, I mean, things like this is what we need, especially in our generation today. We need guidance, we need clarity, because we don't want to get it wrong. So, and we can only get guidance and clarity from people who have been through these things and they know, they've learned from experience. And because they say experience is the best teacher, right? So, yes,
Absolutely.
thank you so much. And yeah, I know we've been talking about young adults, and we also dived into your younger self, right? So I feel like you still have more to tell us, right? You still have advice to give us. So I'd like to ask you, right, if you could go back to your 20-year-old self, what would you tell her about love, identity, and building a meaningful life?
I would say do not allow others to define who you are because you are so much more than what they can see. They only know you in part. You know you 100% of who you are, and you are yet to become all that you have been designed to be. So rest in the skin that you're in and know that you are designed for greater things.
Mm. Wow. Rest in the skin that you're in and know that you're designed for greater things. Wow, thank you so much, Sharon. This has been amazing. And it brings me to, the final segment of my podcast. It's called the rapid fire segment. Okay, so starting now, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so your 20s are for,
Your 20s are for discovering yourself.
hmm, okay, love should feel like,
Love should feel like ice cream on a hot day.
oh, okay, okay. Growth requires,
Growth requires intentionality.
hmm, okay. Confidence comes from,
Loving yourself.
okay. Mistakes teaches you,
Mistakes teach you how to live better.
how to live better. Okay. And purpose feels like,
Purpose feels like breathing.
hmm, reading. Yes. And healing means,
Healing means forgiveness starts with self.
hmm, okay. All right. And finally, you are,
You are precious in the sight of God. Be precious in your eyesight and know that you are special.
I felt like you just spoke to me directly. I felt that right through my soul. Like, wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Sharon. I really do appreciate this conversation. I'm so excited about it. And yes, where can listeners get to connect with you and, explore your work on love, growth, and starting over?
Well, because this audience is 20,
Okay.
I'm gonna send you to the literary midwife unlimited.com.
Mm,
And I also have a podcast doing it God's way with Dr. J. Doing
mm,
it IT God's Way with Dr. J. And I talk a lot about love. I mean, real, unadulterated love on my podcast. And the Literary Midwife, unlimited.com, will put you in touch with me as a storyteller and a person who helps people tell their stories. I think it's very important for us to leave a literary legacy. And it doesn't matter whether you're 2, 22, 42, 52, or 102. You
mm,
have lived life and you have something to say about it.
mm. Wow. All right. Thank you so much, Sharon. Yeah, and okay, to my listeners, thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, just as it did in me, make sure to share to someone you think might need this, and also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes. Thank you, Sharon. This was
Thank you
amazing.
so much. Thank
All
you for
right.
having me. I honor you and I
Oh.
honor the opportunity to share my heart and my love story with your listeners.
Wow, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that, Sharon. Do have a beautiful day ahead of you. And yes, I will be checking out, your podcast. I'd love to hear more of you.
Thank you.
Hmm. All right. Do have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.